we're on the grid then for our first final of Kartmasters 2024. As we can see, Fusion driver Alfie Davidson, who's starting second for this final, is joining me, putting the kart down. I'm going to talk to Alfie first. Alfie, you've had a really successful Kartmasters weekend so far. You've been at the front too the whole time you've been here. How would you like to sum up your weekend so far?
It's been good from now, but we'll have to see how the final goes. Kartmasters, anything can happen.
And what do you think you need to do to win?
Just keep cool through the race and see what happens on the last lap.
And I spoke to you last week at Shennington about your haircut, your fast haircut. Do you think that's going to be helping you again this weekend to get that win?
We'll have to see.
Thanks, Alfie. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
I'm going to head over to Josh Cook, who we saw pip the win at the later stages of the pre-final earlier on. Joshua, how are you feeling about this Water Swift restricted final? Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. It's going to be a great race.
And why do you think you deserve to win that GP plate this year?
Alfie's been great. I've taken the fight to him in that pre-final, and it's going to be a real scrap.
A real scrap indeed. We'll keep heading back down the grid then. I really want to talk to Chester Fawkes, who is the highest up privateer within this grid. Chester, spoke to you a little bit earlier on. You told me that you really want to get in that top three. How achievable do you think that is?
I think I have a good chance of getting top three. Just need to get my head down and go.
And who have you got on as your mechanic today?
My dad.
What's your dad said to you ahead of this race? Is he nervous? Is he excited?
He's all them feelings, but I think he really wants me to do well, so I'm going to do my best for him.
Good luck, Chester.
Thanks.
I'll keep heading down the grid then, and I'm going to go and talk to Attica Mir, who is the only female on this grid. She is starting 10th. I can see her behind me in the GGM livery. We're going to go and talk to her. Attica is the first and only female to ever win a race at Le Mans International. Attica, the last time a female won Kartmasters was in 2011, so it's over 10 years ago. Do you think you could break that record and be the next one?
Yeah, I think if I have a good start and the race goes well for me, I think I can come in the top 5 or the top 3 and maybe win the race.
And this is your first Kartmasters that you've ever done. If you were to sum it up in one word so far, what would you say?
This is actually my second Kartmasters, but I'm like the other drivers have driven on the track a lot, so I don't have as much experience on the track as they do. So I feel really happy because not happy with this position, but I think I could be in the top 5 if everything would go well for me before, but it didn't really go well for me. But I think I'm trying to make it up for the final now.
Good luck, Attica. We'll see you later on.
Thank you.
I can hear the horn has just gone for these carts to be set off, so I'll clear the grid and make way so they can be pushed away by Dan Ashton, the clerk of the course. Good luck to these drivers, and I'll be capturing the emotion, the post-race action back in Parc Ferme once they are finished.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Piers Pryor, this is a first for you. This, quite simply, is the most tense and action-packed afternoon from our perspective in British karting. 15 drivers in Water Swift sit and wait. This is the second year that Water Swift has been part of Kartmasters officially. Austin Gibson is the only driver to win a GP plate title so far in this class. We have 3 drivers who were here last year ago. Alfie Davidson finished 5th last year. Daniel Ferguson finished 9th. Attica Mir finished 14th. Here we go. Your first starting lineup of the 2024 Kartmasters British Kart Grand Prix. Joshua Cook The reigning Rotax International Trophy champion starts from pole position. Alfie Davidson, the current British Championship leader, starts on the outside of row number 1. Chester Fawkes and James Roots go from row number 2. Alessandro Salas and Daniel Ferguson, one of 3 drivers doing double duty in this and the Micromax class, starts from row 3. Mason Hibbert and Oscar Kenny go from row number 4. On row number 5, we have Reggie Chandler and the Queen of Kashmir, Attica Mia. Harry Fable and the 2023 Motorsport UK Bambino champion, Harry Chapman, on row number 6. Finley Bedford, Hugo Williamson and George Greaves round out your starting lineup. 15 minutes plus 1 lap. The threat of rain in the air is looming. Piers Pryor, you've driven this event, you know how these drivers are feeling. Take us to the start.
Well, I've got butterflies, Henry, and I'm just in the comms box. Let's, I wonder what the drivers are feeling like. I mean, I've been there, but never quite up at the front of the grid. I'm sure that these young drivers are feeling something. And here we go. The first Kartmasters Grand Prix of 2024 is going to start next time. That is a false start for the first time by. We're going to go around once again. There was a few drivers, Henry, actually, that were sat on the starting grid that didn't quite get going straight away. Chester Fawkes was one of them, and also the Good Times Racing kart at the back of the field. I think it was Hugo Williamson also struggled to get away, but everyone, as far as I'm aware, circulating, ready for what is going to hopefully be an excellent Grand Prix. 15 minutes plus a lap, a long old race this one, especially for these young drivers. 8 to 11 years old in the Water Swift restricted category.
And I want to just say we've got people tuning in as usual from all over the world, including Mila Wellborn back in the USA, cheering on Attica Mia. The Royal Princess Motorsports driver from the United States, Mila and Alessia Wellborn, watching this and hopefully getting inspired by not just what Attica is doing, but what all these young drivers are doing.
No pressure, Henry, but we've got 1,000 people watching on just the YouTube live stream at the moment on Alpha Live's YouTube channel.
Hello, all 1,000 of you.
Hopefully many more. If any of you are watching, make sure you share this on social media far and wide so we can get this British Kart Grand Prix to as many eyeballs and as many screens as we can, because it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm certain of that, and we go green this time. It is Joshua Cook that leads over the line, closely followed by the privateer of Chester Fawkes, who was on the inside. Oh, and there's a spin for second place, and 3 karts are stationary under the bridge. Luckily, everyone is okay by the looks of it.
Was one of them Alfie Davidson?
I believe so.
Was one of them, I think, the driver that came into this morning having been undefeated? It was Davidson. Out? No, he's not out. He is still in with damage, and it was Davidson and
the 21.
The 21 of James Roots and one of the Oliver Rowland Motorsport
33 with Mason Hibbert. They are the 3. They're still circulating. They're just going into second hairpin now, so probably about 7 or 8 seconds off the back of the field. So not outside of the realms of sanity to say that they could still be in with an outside chance, but it's going to be an uphill battle, that's for sure, for those 3.
Here we go then. It is Joshua Cook, the Cookie Monster, leading for KR Sport, and chasing him are a whole host of privateer drivers.
We love it.
Chester Fawkes second, Reggie Chandler up into 3rd place, and then in 4th, the Jade Racing entry of Alessandro Salas, who now moves into P3. Then in 5th position, the E-plate holder, the Shenington Super Prix winner, is Oscar Kenny. Attica Mia is in 6th position. Finley Bedford, Harry Chapman, Harry Fable and Daniel Ferguson round out your top 10. Alessandro Salas is not messing about. He moves into P2. And what about little Chester Fawkes? Chester Fawkes down into 3rd position now. Reggie Chandler and closing in Oscar Kenny.
Yeah, it is Cook who leads the way at the moment, but the pace at this stage of the race, I mean, there's still a long way to go. 13 minutes plus a lap, but Salas in that red Birrell with the striking rear bumper. The number 28 blue helmet that we're looking at right there. He is romping onto the back of Joshua Cook. Hasn't won a heat yet this weekend. He showed good pace in the pre-final. But the one thing we know about the long finals is it doesn't matter if you're quick at the start. It doesn't matter if you lead the start. It's all about where we end the race. And at the moment, we've got a three-way breakaway, about half a second clear of Reggie Chandler in 4th place. Will these three work together, or are we going to see a move for the lead? We are seeing a move for the lead already. It's the 28. Salas up the inside, but holding around the outside does go Josh Cook. And maybe Chester Fawkes. Yeah, Chester Fawkes up the inside already of Salas and slots back into 2nd place. But all this fighting is helping Kenny and Chandler join the back of this group, and they already have.
It's also helping James Roots, who is running in 11th place. It's helping Mason Hibbert in 12th, and it's helping Alfie Davidson in 13th. They started lap number 3, 7, 8 and 9 seconds respectively behind the race leader. But the more that Cook and Fawkes and Salas and Chandler and Oscar Kenny battle, the closer they will get. Oscar Kenny, he runs the E-plates. He won the Shennington Super Prix 2-3 weeks ago. He hasn't got a podium in the British Championship left, and we've got a new leader. It's Chester Fawkes. Danger, danger, high voltage. Chester Fawkes leads the British Grand Prix in water swift restricted.
Fawkes was helped through by Salas as well. It was a beautifully executed bump draft, slipstream, slingshot from the pair of them, but right there is Cook still in 3rd place, closely followed by Kenny and Chandler. At this stage of the race, it's all about jockeying for position. It's sort of a bit of almost peacocking, I suppose, to a certain extent, but it's almost just setting your stall. The drivers will want to be in this lead group. They'll want to stake their claim and say that they're fast to the drivers around them, because if you show weakness at this early stage, then you're going to be chewed up and spat out.
The last privateer to win a GP plate title, Theo McCurris in Honda Cadet 2018. It has been a long time. Theo's the Delta Raceway company that Theo's parents run. They are sponsoring a prize here. I'm sure that Dino, Mary and Theo will be here. Can a privateer finally, because Theo McCurris doesn't want to be the last privateer who wins a GP plate. He's proud to have won a GP plate, but again, as a supporter of independent drivers, they want another one to do the business. Could it be Chester Fawkes? Could it be Reggie Chandler in 5th place, the top 5, nose to tail? And suddenly Oscar Kenny coming into play. He hasn't got a podium in the British Kart Championship yet this year, but he's shown he's capable of winning big one-off events like the E-Plate.
Yeah, hasn't featured a huge amount this weekend inside the top positions, but he's always been there or thereabouts, and he's putting himself in a very nice position indeed at this stage of the race. It looks like his pace is actually very solid in this one. He's staying on the back of Joshua Cook. And Cook is also staying with Fawkes. And one of the beauties of the cadet classes is that it's very, very hard to pull away. And there you saw a perfect example of the slipstream at the end of the straight. And going for the lead goes Josh Cook. He wants to lead this race from the front. Following through is that Ipe who we were just talking about. Kenny, can he make the move? Yes, he can, up to 2nd place. That might be the highest he's been at any point this weekend.
Oscar Kenny has not led a lap all weekend, I don't believe. No, he qualified very well yesterday, but did not win or lead. He went backwards in the races. Now, Reggie Chandler, kart number 47, the back of this lead group. He is on a Falcon chassis. Why is he on a Falcon chassis? Because it's the only chassis with the pedal extensions that are small enough to fit him in, because he is teeny-weeny tiny, but he's got a lot of talent.
Clearly he's got a lot of talent, currently on the back of the lead group for a Grand Prix, a British Grand Prix nonetheless here at Kartmasters at Trent Valley Kart Club's annual event, Paul Fletcher International Circuit, celebrating 30 years, isn't it?
Yes, so, well, in August 1994, this was just dirt. Construction was underway. Kenny leads for the first time, swings wide, it's an undercut, Forks back into top spot, Salas round the outside of turn number 4 into P2.
Yeah, there we go. Kenny finding out just how hard it is to lead a race. He led the race for approximately 30 metres before being undercut, and now he's down to 4th already and potentially even 5th as Chandler gets involved.
Into hairpin number 2. Behind this group, Daniel Ferguson runs 6th, Harry Chapman is 7th, Atakamia is 8th, James Roots is up to 9th, and Finley Bedford rounding out the top 10. Alfie Davidson sets the fastest lap of the race. He is less than 7 seconds behind this lead battle with 7 minutes to go. Hibbert 12th, Fable 13th, Williamson and Greaves are then next. Don't count Alfie Davidson out yet.
I've been keeping half an eye on Davidson's lap times. He's about on average half a second a lap faster than this lead group. That would bring him very, very close by the end of this race. But if these front two of Salas and Forks continue to push each other along, it will become...
to the inside, what a move from Reggie.
Oh yes, that was naughty.
That was officially, that was 10 out of 10 on the naughty scale from Reggie Chandler. You know, normally when a kid's that naughty, they get sent into a timeout or something like that, or they get sent the naughty step, or they have to think about the consequences of their actions. Well, the consequence of that move is that little Reggie Chandler is now on the podium, potentially in the British Grand Prix.
Here we go. These front two, I think, are very happy to work together. They've realised what's happening in the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Joshua Cook will be very frustrated taking his first winner this weekend in pre-final, and he thought maybe this is an opportunity for me to stake my claim on the prize. But at this stage, it's just slipping between his fingers. He gets a bit of sideways on the exit and trying to go around the outside was Kenny. Can't get it done there.
Okay, this is now a really significant part of the race. 6 minutes to go. Reggie Chandler, if he can, he's not going to defend that, though. He was defending. He's sticking side by side with Oscar Cook. Reggie, he just is thinking about a podium. And this is slowing Cook. It's slowing Kenny down. Now Reggie's been passed. He's down to 5th. But as they come off turn number 4, when the camera pans out, where are the leaders? There they are. They're a long way up the road. Could this be a battle between Alessandro Salas and Chester Forks? Salas started this morning with it. Salas finished 5th this morning. His best result during the heats was a 5th. Forks, his best result during the heats was a 2nd, but he had a big accident on Friday.
Yeah, those two doing very well to push the other way. The gap now over 2 and a bit seconds, so that's going to be hard to chase down for the rest of the group. So I would imagine that Salas and Forks will probably chill in the position they are for at least another 3 minutes or so, but potentially the pressure of the occasion might get to them and they might start scrapping early, which would bring Cook, Kenny, Chandler, Ferguson, Chapman, Roots, maybe even Davidson into this.
Well, look at this. You've got James Roots and Atakamia, 8th and 9th. Harry Chapman there in 7th. There's Daniel Ferguson passing Reggie Chandler for 5th position. So Reggie now slipping backwards, but what a drive it's been from him so far. Then you've got the Evolved Motorsport kart, that sort of turquoise green or light green coloured machine of James Roots, who now has the fastest lap of the race. James Roots is actually on, well, he's not literally on fire, but the Roots is on fire and heading towards the front. Chapman and Atakamia are all within 5 seconds with Davidson in 10th.
Roots has been consistently the last 4 or 5 laps, half a second to 6/10 faster than our leaders. So not only is he closing the gap to the group ahead, but he's also closing the gap to the leaders. Now, in theory, if there were no carts between him and the leaders, that might be close before the end of the race. However, he has to get through these carts or push them up to the back of the lead group.
And look at this. These are the youngest drivers here, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they are drafting and they're slipstreaming. Alessandro Salas and Chester Forks are racing like a couple of veterans.
Another fastest lap from James Roots. That is another 3.5 tenths faster.
Inside Reggie Chandler, side by side with Reggie, and there's one move from James Roots. So that's one obstacle out of the way. Chandler starting to fade now. Still less than 5 seconds, cover the top 9.
So close. I mean, yeah, 4 seconds would take you down to 8th place. James Roots in 6th place so far. He's probably the one to watch in this group. Got the pace. He's already on the back of Cook, who started ahead of him in the race. So this is going to be interesting. I think the best chance that Roots has of getting to the lead pair is potentially hooking on the back of Joshua Cook, who's probably the fastest of these drivers at the moment, and pushing them forward, and then hoping, praying that Salas or Fawkes start to squabble before the last lap.
Well, here's Daniel Ferguson in the number 15 kart. He is just peeking out behind Joshua Cook. He's got Danny Curl, Ben Curl helping him as we go underneath the bridge. Out there's Ferguson up the inside of Cook for what is now 4th place. Roots, though, is having a little look. No, you can see now James Roots' momentum has stalled out. The two leaders. Well, Chester Fawkes is doing an exceptional job here. The first time I ever saw Chester race was at Glanagorse in North Wales as a Bambino, and on that occasion he led. He led on his as a novice in the British Bambino Championship, so we know he has talent. And he gives a very good interview. He said it tells you how young these drivers are. Chester Fawkes, in one of these interviews earlier this weekend, he went, I don't want to get holded up. Because he has the grammar about being held up. You know, I don't want to be holded up.
It sounds like something I'd say, Henry.
You know, but again, they say that, and then they drive like this. The number 37 kart gets the blue flag, George Greaves. The barrel next over his shoulder.
No.
Salas is going to catch him. Underneath the bridge. And George Greaves gets out of the way. He's just travelling a little bit slower.
Well, he's on wet tyres. They took the gamble that the rain was going to come down heavily.
Right, okay. Well, I mean, they were starting on the back row of the grid with George Greaves and Hugo Williamson, so why not gamble? Good times racing.
Yep.
It would have been good times if it had started raining. What else do you do? Here we go.
What
the
else?
Gap back to Oscar Kenny in 3rd place from the 2 leaders is 2.5 seconds. 1 minute to go. They're going to come up on the number 11 kart of Hugo Williamson. Hey, sometimes if you gamble, sometimes you're a hero and sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
They weren't going to win any other way, but they gave themselves a chance.
Another
now
driver.
The leader this, Hugo Williamson, he's got to get out of the way. Salas goes around the outside. Oh, that was close. But now Salas and Fawkes. Here we go. Alessandro Salas. Last weekend, he was cruelly excluded because I think his mechanic jet washed the cart down. And then there was some moisture inside the component there should have been, and that was an exclusion from the round. He has fought back well. This sport teaches young men and women, young boys and girls, how to take your licks. And Chester Fawkes now leads.
Chester Fawkes has decided now is the moment. He's got a big enough gap. Fawkes defends, but Salas holds the inside line, gets back to the lead of the race. The gap is still about 2.5 seconds to James Roots, who's now in 3rd place, who's taken that 3rd place off of the E-plate of Kenny. And now they're fighting hard. And Roots, you can see Roots in the back of shot, but Fawkes now takes the lead once again. We are coming into the this is the final section of the lap for the penultimate time. Fawkes defends once again. Can Salas get underneath him? No, a little tap on the back means that his momentum is stunted.
James Roots within 2 seconds, Piers.
Yes,
Can he close the gap of 2 seconds on the final lap? Because we are beginning the final lap now. Fawkes defends. Salas goes round the outside. A Slim Shady at the start of the final. Brilliant.
Can we see it again? Are we going to have a naughty cutback? Yes, we are. Could the naughty cutback mean a GP plate for Fawkes? Or will Salas be able to get back past? Fawkes offline into the run off the bridge. Fawkes defends once again. Last lap, Fawkes went back to the racing line and got overtaken on the inside. Will he do the same once again? No. Fawkes holds the inside. Locks up. He spun.
No.
And that's let. Oh, Fawkes.
Salas, you saw him just outbrake himself. It's cruel. It's cruel. Chester Fawkes. Well, Salas leads. Here comes James Roots into the Fullerton S's. Roots and Oscar Kenny are there. Are we going to see a grandstand finish? We've seen just about everything on the last lap. It's going to be a drag race to the line.
Yes, Kenny held his nerve. He held behind. He forced the mistake. He's going to get a run. Roots has got a run over to the line, but it's going to be Salas who takes it by just 0.02 of a second from James Roots and Oscar Kenny. James Roots You may not have taken the GP plate home, but you should hold your head high, because after a spin on the first lap, that is an almighty drive to the Vice Championship position. Wow, and you can see...
He can't believe it. He can't believe it. Oh, Alessandro Salas. Well, I've got to say... Oh, now here's Chester Fawkes coming alongside. He just... I mean, we can have a little... We'll probably have a little look back at that if we can. Let's have a look. That was insane. I'm so glad Nicole Sutherland is down there, because if it was you or I, Piers, you know, these youngsters at the end of such an emotional race, to see a friendly, smiling face of Nicole Sutherland rather than us, our two grizzled boat races.
Yes, but this man, what a drive he's done for the Jade Racing team. Scott Allen and the whole Jade Racing team will be over the moon.
Exactly.
Henry, it's proven it, it's proven it, it's proven it. Alfie Davidson, fast in time qualifying. One heat 1, one heat 2, one heat 3, one heat 4. Then didn't win the pre-final. That was Cook. But then it didn't matter. You only have to lead one lap to be a Grand Prix
now you can
British
see
champion.
You've got the iPad of Doom, or the telephone of Doom, checking the nose cones. The mixed streak there, checking the weights of the carts. Unofficially, your top three are Alessandro Salas, James Roots, and Oscar Kenny. Now, this is something that is unique to Kartmasters. They will have their weights and their nose cones checked. Then the top three will come out onto the start-finish line to see Nicole Sutherland and get their interviews. Not always the top three are the same. There is James Roots.
Oh, they're telling him how he needs to get back to the start-finish line. But what a drive from Roots. Let's just recap that a little bit. Roots was caught up in that first lap incident where 3 carts slowed down. Those 3 carts were Davidson, who finished 5th in the end, so a good recovery from him.
Mason Hibbert,
and James Roots. Now, they were fully stationary underneath the bridge in the first lap. Lost at least 5, 6, well, I think it was 6, 7, and 8 seconds, wasn't it, after the first lap?
Yeah.
Roots was on an absolute mission. He set fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap, carving his way through the field, got past pretty much everyone, just about got onto the lead group, but was not quite enough, because Salas, he held his nerve. But let's spare a thought for Chester Fawkes. He drove an excellent race, and unfortunately just braking ever so slightly too hard, locking those rear tyres and spinning himself out of contention on the final lap. He drove an excellent race up until that point.
It did look like he just outbroke himself.
He did. There was no contact. In fact, I think Salas had already pulled out from behind him by that point.
Yeah, he made, you know, again, 8 years old. It happens. Last lap with the British Grand Prix, it can happen. But, you know, he'll look back, and if he looks at the live chat, you'll see so much love and support from the other karting community. Alessandro Salas just hasn't figured out. There's Ben Moore, one of the technical team here at PF International, and the top 3 coming out onto the grid nice and slowly, and then they'll take their crash helmets off, and after a race so dramatic, you will see that they are just kids.
Yes, they are properly kids, 8 to 11 years old. And, you know, Chester Fawkes, he may not feel it today, but he will probably be a stronger driver because of it. But let's head down to Nicole Sutherland to get the reaction.
We have our number 2 and number 3 here joined us back on the track on the start-finish line. We'll go over to our number 2 finisher, who is James Roots, the number 21 for Evolve Motorsport. James, not a number 1, but are you happy with the 2nd place at Kartmasters?
Yeah, I'm quite happy. We had an incident at the start which caused us quite a lot of time, so we think we did quite well to recover, because we were basically at the back by the first lap. A 15-minute race gives us loads of time to recover our positions, so happy with that.
And this has been a long race. There's been such fierce racing. Who have you got to thank to getting you up at the front this week?
I would like to thank Evolve, Jade Engines, my mum, my dad. Yeah, and that's all.
Well, very big well done to you, James. If we can get our cameraman to look down the track, we can see our GP plate winner, Alessandro, running down the track to the first place board. I'm sure this driver is going to be so happy, giving a big handshake to Dan Ashton. We'll go and head over to Oscar Kenny as well, who finished third place. Oscar, how are you feeling about that third place finish?
We're feeling good. Obviously, I think James has got a little bit of a push, and then he overtook. We struggled to stay with him, but we got a good result in the end.
And will you be back next year to try and get a race win?
Yeah, we'll be back next year in Inter to try and get a race win.
Very well done to you, Oscar. Now, Alessandro, if you can come over. Congratulations. How do you feel that you can say you're a GP plate winner?
Really excited because it was one of my first wins. Yeah. So yeah.
For a first win, what a place to win it! What an event! I've got this for you. There is your official GP plate. Who have you got to thank for this week?
I'd like to thank my sponsors, Automata, Marlish Springwater, and Scott, Ross, Marcus for supporting me for coaching, and yeah, and my dad.
Of course, parents are a big part of that. And if I can talk to you quickly as well, when you were going into that first hairpin on the last lap and you saw race leader Chester make a mistake, what did you feel? What was going through your head to kind of know that you had done it and you had won the race?
I was thinking just like go and not defend, because I knew the people behind would have came behind, because on the last corner they were right. James was right behind me.
And back in the grandstands, I can see the Jade Racing team. They're so excited for you. They gave you a huge round of applause. Do you want to give them a wave?